The once bustling Thompson household was now eerily quiet. The echoes of laughter and teenage chatter that had filled its rooms for years had faded, replaced by a stillness that pressed down on Laura Thompson's heart like a heavy weight. Her youngest child, Lily, had just left for college, leaving Laura and her husband, David, alone in the spacious suburban home that suddenly felt too big, too empty. For the past 18 years, Laura had devoted herself to raising her children, pouring her energy and love into creating a warm and nurturing home. She had embraced the role of stay-at-home mom with pride, finding fulfillment in watching her children grow and thrive. But now, with the nest empty, she felt adrift. Her sense of purpose and identity blurred. The days stretched out before her, long and monotonous. She filled her time with cleaning, organizing, and volunteering at the local library, but nothing seemed to fill the void within her. She missed the chaos and energy of a full house, the constant demands and challenges of motherhood. One afternoon, while browsing through old photo albums, Laura stumbled upon a picture of herself from her college days. She was standing confidently in front of a marketing presentation, her eyes sparkling with ambition and determination. A wave of nostalgia washed over her, reminding her of the dreams she had once held, the career she had put on hold to raise her family. That night, as she lay in bed beside her sleeping husband, Laura couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing in her life. She longed for a challenge, a sense of purpose beyond the walls of her home. She wanted to feel like herself again, the woman she had been before motherhood consumed her identity. The next morning, Laura woke up with a newfound sense of resolve. She sat down at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee and a notebook, her mind buzzing with ideas. She began to research marketing trends, brushing up on her skills, and exploring potential job opportunities. As she delved deeper into the world of marketing, Laura felt a spark of excitement ignite within her. The creative challenges, the strategic thinking, the opportunity to make a difference in the business world, it all appealed to her on a deep level. With a mix of trepidation and anticipation, Laura decided to take the plunge. She updated her resume, reached out to former colleagues, and started applying for marketing consultant positions. It was a bold move, a step into the unknown, but Laura was determined to reclaim her identity and find fulfillment outside the confines of her home. The days leading up to Laura's first job interview were a whirlwind of emotions. She spent countless hours preparing, researching the company, practicing her responses to potential questions, and carefully selecting her outfit. The familiar feeling of butterflies in her stomach returned, a mix of excitement and nervousness that she hadn't experienced in years. David, sensing Laura's anxiety, offered his unwavering support. He helped her practice her interview skills, reassured her of her abilities, and even offered to take care of the household chores so she could focus on her preparation. "You're going to be amazing, Laura," he said, kissing her forehead as she left for the interview. "Just be yourself, and they'll see how talented and capable you are." Laura's children, too, were excited for their mother. They had witnessed her dedication and hard work over the years, and they knew how much this opportunity meant to her. They offered words of encouragement and even helped her choose the perfect outfit for the interview. "You're going to rock this, Mom," Lily said, beaming with pride. "I can't wait to hear all about it." Despite the support from her family, Laura couldn't shake the nagging feeling of apprehension. It had been years since she had worked in a professional setting, and she worried about being out of touch with the latest trends and technologies. She also felt a pang of guilt, wondering if she was being selfish by pursuing her own ambitions at the expense of her family. As she sat in the waiting room, nervously flipping through her portfolio, Laura's thoughts raced. She reminded herself of all the reasons why she was doing this: to rediscover her passion, to contribute to the household income, to set an example for her children. When her name was called, Laura took a deep breath and walked into the interview room with her head held high. She answered the questions with confidence and enthusiasm, showcasing her skills and experience. As the interview progressed, Laura's nerves began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of excitement and possibility. Leaving the office, Laura felt a surge of adrenaline. She had done her best, and now all she could do was wait. The uncertainty was nerve-wracking, but she also felt a sense of accomplishment. She had taken a bold step towards reclaiming her life, and no matter the outcome, she was proud of herself for having the courage to try. A few days later, Laura received the call she had been anxiously awaiting. She had landed the job. A wave of elation washed over her, mixed with a healthy dose of trepidation. She was thrilled to be embarking on this new chapter in her life. But she also knew it would be a challenge to balance her career aspirations with her family responsibilities. The first few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. Laura threw herself into her new role as a marketing consultant, eager to prove her worth and make a positive impact. She spent long hours at the office, attending meetings, brainstorming campaigns, and analyzing data. At home, the dynamics shifted. David, true to his word, stepped up to help with the household chores and childcare. He cooked dinner, packed lunches, and even attempted to braid his daughter's hair, with varying degrees of success. But the transition wasn't seamless. There were evenings when Laura came home late, exhausted and stressed, only to find a sink full of dirty dishes and a pile of unfolded laundry. There were mornings when David struggled to get the kids ready for school on time, his frustration mounting as he searched for missing socks and misplaced backpacks. The children, too, felt the impact of their mother's new schedule. They missed having her around for after-school snacks and homework help. They longed for the spontaneous family game nights and movie marathons that had once been a regular part of their lives. One evening, as Laura sat at her desk, poring over a marketing report, she heard a knock at her door. It was her son, Ethan, his face etched with a mixture of sadness and anger. "Mom, why are you always working?" he asked, his voice cracking. "You never have time for us anymore." Laura's heart sank. She reached out to hug her son, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm so sorry, Ethan," she said. "I know I've been busy, but I love you and your sister more than anything in the world. I'm just trying to find a balance." Ethan pulled away from her embrace, his eyes filled with tears. "It doesn't feel like it," he mumbled, before turning and storming out of the room. Laura sat back in her chair, her heart heavy with guilt. She had been so focused on proving herself at work that she had neglected the most important people in her life. The realization hit her like a punch to the gut. She had to find a way to balance her career aspirations with her family responsibilities, or risk losing the love and connection she cherished so deeply. The tension in the Thompson household continued to simmer, a silent undercurrent threatening to disrupt the fragile peace they had established. Laura, though successful in her new role, found herself constantly juggling deadlines, client meetings, and late nights at the office. The guilt of missing family dinners and school events gnawed at her, leaving her feeling like she was failing on both fronts. David, despite his initial efforts to be supportive, grew increasingly resentful. The added burden of household chores and childcare, coupled with the loneliness of evenings spent alone, began to wear on him. He missed the easy companionship he and Laura had once shared, the quiet moments of connection that had been replaced by a frenetic pace and unspoken tensions. Their once vibrant conversations now revolved around logistics and schedules, the spark of their love dimmed by the weight of their responsibilities. Laura felt David's growing frustration, his subtle sighs and exasperated glances speaking volumes. She longed to reassure him, to tell him that she still loved him and valued their marriage, but the words seemed to get caught in her throat. One evening, as Laura rushed to finish a presentation for an important client, David walked into her home office, his face etched with a mixture of exhaustion and anger. "Laura, we need to talk," he said, his voice unusually stern. Laura looked up from her computer, her heart sinking. She knew this conversation was coming, but she had been avoiding it, hoping that somehow things would magically work themselves out. "What is it, David?" she asked, her voice tentative. "It's about us, about our family," he replied, his tone heavy with disappointment. "I feel like we're drifting apart, Laura. You're always working, and I'm left to pick up the pieces. I miss you." Laura's eyes welled up with tears. "I miss you too, David," she said, her voice cracking. "I hate that I'm missing so much, but I'm trying my best. I just want to be successful, to contribute to our family." David sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I know you do, Laura," he said softly. "But at what cost? Our kids are growing up without you, and I feel like I'm losing my wife." The words hung in the air, heavy and painful. Laura felt a wave of guilt wash over her. She had been so focused on proving herself in the workplace that she had neglected the most important people in her life. "I don't want to lose you, David," she said, her voice trembling. "I love you, and I love our family. But I also need this job, this sense of purpose. I'm trying to find a balance, but it's hard." David looked at her, his eyes filled with a mix of love and sadness. "I know it's hard, Laura," he said softly, "but we need to figure this out together. We need to find a way to make this work, for all of us." The tension between Laura and David reached a boiling point one Friday evening. Laura had promised to take her daughter, Lily, to a school play, but a last-minute work emergency had forced her to cancel. When she arrived home hours later, she found Lily in tears, her face buried in a pillow. "Mom, you promised," Lily sobbed. "You said you'd be there. It was my first lead role, and you weren't even there to see it." Laura's heart shattered into a million pieces. She knelt beside her daughter, her own tears flowing freely. "I'm so sorry, Lily," she said, her voice choked with emotion. "I know I let you down. I hate that I missed it, but I had to finish a project for work." Lily pulled away from her mother's embrace, her eyes filled with hurt and resentment. "Work is always more important than us, isn't it?" she said bitterly. "You're never there anymore." Laura felt a pang of guilt so intense it was almost physical. She had always prided herself on being a present and involved mother, but now she realized the toll her career was taking on her family. Later that night, after Lily had gone to bed, Laura and David sat in the living room, the silence between them heavy and oppressive. Finally, David spoke, his voice laced with a quiet anger Laura had never heard before. "This isn't working, Laura," he said, his gaze fixed on the fireplace. "We're falling apart, and it's breaking my heart." Laura's breath caught in her throat. She had been so focused on her own struggles that she hadn't fully realized the impact her choices were having on her husband. "I know, David," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I see it too. I'm so sorry." David turned to face her, his eyes filled with a mix of sadness and longing. "I love you, Laura," he said softly, "but I can't keep living like this. We need to find a way to make this work for all of us." Laura reached out and took his hand, her own tears flowing freely. "I love you too, David," she said, her voice choked with emotion. "And I want to make this work. I don't know how." They sat in silence for a long moment, the weight of their shared pain hanging heavy in the air. Then, David spoke again, his voice filled with a newfound resolve. "We need to talk, Laura," he said. "Honestly, openly, without holding back. We need to lay it all out on the table and figure out how to move forward together." Laura nodded, her heart filled with a glimmer of hope. Perhaps this was the turning point they needed, the catalyst for change. Perhaps together, they could find a way to rebuild their marriage and create a future that honored both their individual needs and their commitment to their family. The conversation that followed was raw and emotional, filled with tears, apologies, and heartfelt confessions. Laura and David laid bare their fears and frustrations, their dreams and aspirations. They spoke of the sacrifices they had made, the resentments they had harbored, and the love that still bound them together. Laura admitted her guilt over neglecting her family and the toll it had taken on their relationship. She acknowledged David's feelings of loneliness and frustration, and she expressed her deep appreciation for his unwavering support. David, in turn, confessed his own insecurities and fears. He admitted that he had felt threatened by Laura's newfound independence and success, and that he had struggled to adjust to his changing role in the family. As they talked, a sense of understanding and empathy emerged. They realized that they were both grappling with the challenges of change, of navigating a new chapter in their lives. They acknowledged the mistakes they had made and the hurt they had caused each other, but they also reaffirmed their commitment to their marriage and their family. In the days that followed, Laura and David made a conscious effort to create a new balance in their lives. Laura set clearer boundaries between work and family time, making sure to be present for important events and spending quality time with her children each day. She also involved David in her work, sharing her successes and challenges and seeking his input and advice. David, in turn, became more proactive in sharing household chores and childcare responsibilities. He learned to cook a few simple meals, helped with homework, and even volunteered to chaperone school field trips. He also made an effort to be more understanding and supportive of Laura's career aspirations, celebrating her achievements and offering encouragement during difficult times. The changes weren't easy, and there were still moments of tension and frustration, but they were committed to working through their challenges, to finding a way to make their marriage thrive in this new chapter of their lives. As the months passed, a sense of harmony returned to the Thompson household. Laughter and conversation filled the rooms once again, and the weight of their financial worries gradually lifted. Laura's freelance career continued to grow, and David found satisfaction in his new role as a more involved and supportive partner. They had learned a valuable lesson that love, communication, and compromise were the keys to navigating life's transitions and building a stronger, more resilient partnership. The Thompson household, once a battleground of financial anxieties and unspoken resentments, had transformed into a sanctuary of love, resilience, and newfound strength. The walls that had once felt like a prison now embraced them with warmth and comfort. Laura's freelance writing career flourished, her words resonating with readers across the globe. She had found her voice, her passion reignited, and her confidence restored. David's handyman business thrived, his skills and work ethic earning him a loyal clientele. Together, they had not only weathered the financial storm, but emerged from it stronger and more united than ever before. One crisp autumn morning, Laura and David sat on their porch, sipping coffee and watching the leaves change color. The air was filled with the scent of burning wood and the distant sound of children playing in the park. Laura reached for David's hand, her fingers intertwining with his. "I can't believe how far we've come," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "We almost lost everything, but we found each other again." David squeezed her hand, his eyes sparkling with love. "We did, Laura," he replied, "and I'm so grateful for that. This whole experience has taught me so much about you, about us, about what truly matters in life." Laura nodded, her heart full. "It's taught me that love isn't just about the good times," she said softly. "It's about weathering the storms together, about supporting each other through the darkness, and coming out the other side even stronger." They sat in comfortable silence, their hearts filled with a quiet gratitude. The financial crisis had tested their love and resilience, but it had also revealed the depth of their bond. They had learned to communicate openly, to lean on each other, and to appreciate the simple joys of life. As the sun rose higher in the sky, casting a warm glow over their neighborhood, Laura and David looked at each other with a renewed sense of hope and purpose. They had faced their fears, overcome their challenges, and emerged from the darkness hand in hand. Their love story, once threatened by the weight of financial despair, had blossomed into a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit.